we seem to have a lot of internal wars going on in the black community that keep us separate and incapable of uniting to build institutions, infrastructures necessary to address like all of our real issues that we got going on. And also experience our true potential. You know, because when you look at America, like the fabric of America is us.
Yes.
When you look at the music, when you look at the culture, the food, when you look at whose hands built this country, the fabric of America is us.
Absolutely.
And so, but we're not able to actually realize that potential, which I think is what's most frustrating for us as Africans being here in America. And then when you start to look at the violent and toxic culture of music that's being pushed today, by the music industry, the black on black aggression, watching how men and women sort of speak about each other, and the fact that 76% of households in our community are single parents, and we're riddled with disease as well too. We don't own our own banks. We don't own our schools. We don't own our own businesses in our neighborhoods that we primarily shop at. And we really don't own our communities anymore like we did
Yes.
50 years ago. Why is uniting how we think, our goals, our actions, and understanding what we're truly up against paramount right now in this period of life?
It's more important now because we have less time in front of us than we did behind us.
Exactly.
We quite literally don't have a choice. We have to unite. As a matter of fact, the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan said, until you unite, this enemy is going to keep attacking you. He's going to keep beating you, keep killing you until you are forced to come together.
Yeah.
Now he said this multiple ways, many different times, all throughout the years, for decades. The reality is, whatever label we have for one another, we can say we are Moors, Hebrew Israelite, we can say we're Christians, we can say we're Muslims, we can say we're 5%ers, we can say we're vegan, we can say we're this, we're that. Okay, after you get done with all that, that's nice. This enemy continues to call you and consider you to be a Negro. That's just it. Whether if you believe it or not, some of you are like, well, no, I'm voting for this person. I'll vote for this. I'm progressive. I'm this. Okay, progressive. Okay, Republican, Democrat. Okay, after you get done with all these damn labels, there is a very real reality of where you are as a people. You will not survive. We will not survive if we do not come together and become like-minded on very particular subjects. Food, industry, education, land ownership. We don't have to go into the religious belief. We just need to come together, get the same idea on survival.
Right.
That's just it. Food, clothing, shelter.
Yeah.
At least, let's start with those. Food, clothing, shelter. Well, I ain't vegan. Okay, Negro, you like fruit? You agree on that? At least. Okay, great. You want some vegetables with your steak?
Yeah.
Whatever. Fine. Cool. We don't have to eat the same, but we do want to eat, right?
Yeah.
Good. Do we need to own land? Yes. We need to do that, right? So let's come together in that area. We need education. Okay, so we need more schools. We have some. We need more. We have a few grocery stores. We need more. So it's based on survival now. Yeah. I don't care about these labels, brother. See, I don't get involved in that spiritual game banging, conscious game banging.
Yeah.
Everybody, well, reason, man, well, what about this? Well, the nation is. I don't care what you think about the nation.
Right.
Stop me from being a member.
Yeah.
You're going to realize why your brother benches as much as he does.
Yeah.
And why I fight the way I do. You ain't seen it because I don't want the enemy to understand exactly what your brother's capable of. Yeah. That's why I don't post videos of that. But you have to be mindful that we don't have time.
Yeah.
That's it. We think we have time. Like we think, oh, it's cool. I'm going to just do my thing over here. Well, they've tried that already. We've been divided long enough already. Yeah. We've attacked each other enough already. Now people are looking at the egos because people are basing that off of how many followers do you have. I can tell you this. The system psychologically manipulated people when they gave people followers.
Yeah.
Right? So they make you think you actually have some level of influence because there's a number attached to this digital platform that makes you think you actually got that many people who will do what you say.
Right.
You think so? I guarantee you, people with a 19th, a 20th of what you have numerically on that digital platform, I know people who can move thousands and they got less than 2,000 followers on social media. Don't ever get this twisted. Yeah. Don't think because you have a digital number that you have a literal one.
Yeah.
You do not. And most of y'all ain't real leaders.
Yep.
Because if you were a real leader, you would lead with wisdom and you would duplicate what was successful from those who came before us. That's why I study all of them.
Yeah.
I study the honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I study the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. I study Brother Malcolm X, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. I study my leader, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Study the Panthers, study the Moors, study the Hebrew Israelites, study all of them, the Rastafari, all of them.
Yeah.
Because there is wisdom in everything that they have done. So we have to take the good of every single one of those areas, put it together, and utilize it for our survival as a people. If you're not on that page, I'm not with you.
Right.
That's it. And guess what? If you're not on that page, survival ain't with you. The Most High, God, Allah's not with you. Because you're going to keep doing this division when people on the other side of the fence is like, yeah, we call ourselves Christian, Catholic. We call ourselves all this. But we united against you. And we know what time it is. Right. So we have to get on that page, brother. There is nothing else when it comes to that type of situation. We don't have as much time as we think we have, but we do have the ability. We have enough resources. We have enough millionaires. We genuinely do.
Yeah.
We just lack the unity.
Yep.
And the last thing I'll say is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that our unity is more powerful than a hydrogen or an atomic bomb. And the government understands that, hence why they said they must prevent Negro unity.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. Don't let them folks come together.
Yeah.
Because if they do, Tulsa, Oklahoma was one of the 60 all-black towns that we had.
Yeah.
We can create industry and do magnificent things when we come together. We just simply have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we come together, that whole Ponzi scheme of it comes down real quick, brother.
Absolutely. Please.
Now, one thing I want to say I appreciate about you is that, you know, my circle is like this.
Yes, sir.
Like super. And what I was telling you is that, you know, I've taken a break from the podcast just because I only want to interview people who are going to touch people's heart and those who are actually living the life.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank you for being that example, because at the end of the day, you know, like when I get in a room with like-minded people and like-ended people, especially brothers, it's so refreshing because I'm quite often in rooms with people. Like I can tell when I walk in a room and people may not even know who I am, but people don't even want to fool with me, and they don't know who I am, but they don't want to fool with me because there's a certain energy.
There is an energy.
And that's one of the things I appreciate about healed, healthy men.
Yes.
Is the fact that we can stand tall on who we are in a very small circle.
Absolutely.
And so I want to talk a little bit about the importance of having strong, healed men. Mm-hmm. Because there was a book I was reading recently. It's called The War Against Boys. It's a really, really good book.
Get that.
Let me say, give you first, it's a trigger warning because it's pretty eye-opening when you consider a lot of the changes that have occurred in the last 5 years and how that change has impacted a lot of the young men today. And let me say that there are things that need to be evolved in many men. But what I will say is this, is that there seems to be a systematic attack on all men.
Absolutely.
It at first, it was on like this certain type of men. But then all of a sudden, the attack was just on all men. It just got umbrellaed.
Yes.
And so now we're seeing that attack not only on men, but even on the school level. And you're seeing that attack in movies where you're seeing men emasculated. You're seeing that attack in the media. And now you're seeing that all those attacks now transition into the home.
Correct.
And so with that being said, why is the society today attempting to eliminate the strong, masculine, healed, heterosexual male?
Come on. Very specific, too. A nation that has strong men cannot be controlled. It cannot be taken over. It cannot be brought down when the security base is intact. Yeah. Now, women can protect themselves in certain instances. They shouldn't have to, because we are taught that a woman is far more important because she is the workshop of God, the womb. Okay, so she has to be protected. Sisters, I understand y'all like, just have a seat. You're too important. Sit down and be your beautiful self. Let the men do what men need to do. This enemy knows that when you have a strong military, Seeing that's why they boast about the military all the time, right? Because we're strong. Okay, mostly now it's about the weaponry and the guns. But when the military is strong, when the men are strong, then it demonstrates the survival potential of that nation of people because they look at the warrior class. Every nation, every village, every group looks at the warrior class, and they look at their height. They look at their stamina. They look at their ability to maneuver under strenuous circumstances. This is how, military science operates. They analyze you. They look to see where the chink is in your armor, as you brought up earlier. Where's the weaknesses? Do they have any? How can we exploit them? Etc. So the attack on the man, number one, had to come about because the government started to become tired after the 1960s. Yeah. Right. So the civil rights movement tired everybody out. This government was just tired as hell. They had the Panthers, the Nation of Islam. It was after the Garvey movement with the UNIA. They're like, all right, we can't deal with these energetic, intelligent, strong, masculine Negroes. So the chemical castration, crack cocaine, heroin had to wipe out some of them. Then they brought in marijuana. Brothers, I hear you. Sisters, I hear you. But the marijuana you're smoking today is not even remotely close to the original organic Indian, indica, hemp, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm talking about. Knock it off. It's not the same. Yeah. So they had to find a way to destroy and neutralize. Then, of course, after the military, after the chemical castration, then they said, okay, now make sure the men are taken out of the home, take advantage of the women, manipulate and indoctrinate the children that come afterwards. So now where it went from just the warrior class of primarily black men to now all men, because where it's going now is the government started attacking everybody, not just black people. Yeah. Attacking the rights of everybody, not just black people. Yeah. Attacking the family of everybody, not just black people. And so the government said, well, damn, we're going to have to control and neutralize the warrior class of all these folks, including white men. This is just the honest to God truth. Yeah. So now you have the homosexual behavior exploding. Well, the first thing you have to look at, of course, number one, the lack of men in the home, the lack of masculine examples. Okay, we got that. You have to look at the fact of the chemical castration through chemicals such as atrazine in the water supply. 100%. As Tyrone B. Hayes, a biologist out of the University of Berkeley in California, who has been doing the research on that for over 20 years. And he looked at the fact of what it does as an effeminizing phytoestrogen type of chemical, how it effeminizes males and what it did to frogs. It was converting, literally changing their physical structure from a male to a female, their reproductive organs. And he said this is one of the most common herbicides in the water in the United States. The second most used pesticide in the United States. Brother, and what he showed, it was, the research is so overwhelming. But for him to say that, and of course I argued the question, the explosion in homosexuality, do you think that's just by happenstance? See, now again, let's take our emotions out of this and just really think for a minute. If you are a government that sees the men as a problem, how are you going to handle that? You can't just attack them because you're going to institute a civil war and a revolution. The people are going to attack the government. So you can't do that. You have to be more cunning and more wise about it. Use chemicals, use religion, use psychology, get into the schools, get into the churches, get into the food supply, get into all these ways. That way you can slowly neutralize the warrior class. And then after that, you'll be able to take over society. Right. That's why the attack had to happen, because the people were getting attacked by the U.S. government, and the government knew that the men were going to rise up from all different demographics, black, white, and all in between. So they said, we need to find a way to effeminize and neutralize all of them. We started with black folks. We perfected our system. Use that on everybody. And the problem is a lot of white folks thought they weren't going to be targeted because they got cousins and friends and high places. And no. Now you're dealing with the elite class of evil, wicked people, which ain't just white folk at the top. Yeah. You got some folk who look like us up there. Yeah. Who are working with Satan to do what they're doing to institute control over the masses. That's what is happening. So they know strong men will fight back. Yeah. And they know that they cannot control us anymore, because with all the crap they have done to the people, they know the people ain't trusting them no more. Right. I would say after COVID, after what they did with that, there is no trust among the American people for the U.S. government the way it used to be, because everybody got experimented on. Yeah. And they're like, damn, white folks, I know a lot of them. They was like, I never thought, I know. You feel like a black person now, don't you? Yeah. And they look at me. They're like, yes, because you never thought your government would do that to you. Yeah. Yes, they would. And that's where people are. So now some people feel like we're all on the equal playing field. We're not, but when it comes to the attack, in some senses we are.